Hey, what's up, YouTube? Um, I am going to be going through the some of the cracking the coding interview practice problems. So this is question number one from the strings chapter. So basically, the question is trying to find um, whether or not the strings are made up of unique characters. And also, I want to try and, or the question also involves doing it without using any additional data structures. So I'm going to walk you through kind of my thought process and um, what I did to answer these questions. So the first thing I did was set up some test cases. So I'm using Python. I'm using the unit test framework. So I created this test case class, inheriting from the unit test cases. I took some data, and this is an array of different test cases. Um, and this is a tuple with the string. So this string has all unique characters. So I have that as true. This is another one. So one of the assumptions that I made is that the characters, so uppercase and lowercase characters, are going to be unique. So in this case, a lowercase a and uppercase a doesn't would still classify as separate unique characters because they have different Unicode code points. So yep, that's just an assumption that I made. I threw a Unicode character in here. So yeah, here's some of the test cases. And this is the method to evaluate the test cases. And right now I have the methods named a little bit differently, so I can go through and update run through these without having to rewrite the code. So that's why this is giving me a little warning that doesn't know what I'm talking about here. So let's dive into the first solution that I came up with. So this was kind of a naive solution I came up with. It is going to loop through the string. So it's not using any additional data structures. It's only using the string. It's going to take a look at the first character and then start comparing it to each next character. And if any of these match, then it's going to quit out and return false because that string doesn't contain only unique characters. But if it makes it to the end and iterates all the way throughout the string, it's going to return true because it's made up of only unique characters. So it has a runtime of O(n) squared, so definitely not the fastest solution out there. But so I'll change this and then run the test cases, and there you go. It ran through, no problems. So there you go. All right, so the next thing I did was try and speed things up a little bit. So I used a set, so an additional data structure called a set. Sets have are fast to insert characters and fast to look up characters or fast to look up indexes, but they're and the indexes have to be unique. So it's kind of like a hash map. So I'm looping through the string. If the character is not already in the already seen set, then you add it in. And if it already is in there, then you return false. If you get through the whole string and you never return false, then you're going to return true here. So this is O(n). This is going to run in O(n) time. Let me run this unit test. And there you go. You see it passes. Everything's happy. Okay. now I'm going to make things a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to be using a bitmap. And the reason, we'll take a step back real quick. So each character in Python, each character in a string is a Unicode encoded character. So using the ordinal function that's built into the Python standard library, you can get the decimal value for that code point. So I can go into a little bit more depth, maybe in a different video, how the Unicode code points work. One assumption that I made here is that that I'll be getting Unicode, that all of the characters could be Unicode and in the same code set. If I had made the assumption that I was getting ASCII values, it would be a little bit better. The complexity would be a little bit less, because ASCII Unicode characters are stored in 16 bits, and ASCII characters are a little bit smaller. I believe it's 8 bits. So yeah, so the first thing I'm doing is seeing if the length of the string is more than the number of Unicode characters in a code set. So that's 2 to the 16th. Because if it is, then some of them are definitely going to repeat. That's going to be a pretty long string. That's going to be about 65,000 characters. So yeah. Then I created an empty array, and then appended false throughout that empty array. So in each index of that array, there's going to be the value false. Then I loop through the string and find the ordinal value for that character. So that's going to be the code point. So that's going to be the Unicode representation, or that's going to be the decimal representation of that Unicode character. Then I look up in that array of all falses and try and find and look up the value that's at that code point. And if that value is false, that means that if that value is true, I apologize. If that value is true, then I'm going to return false because it means that I've already hit that. Otherwise, I want to set that value to true. And if I get all the way through without hitting true again for that value, then I'm going to return true, that everything was unique. So this is ON time. It is again using another data structure. It's using this array, but we're gonna borrow concepts from this to find a little bit faster way than the first method that I used, without using any additional data structures. Well, gotta prove to you that this works. So I'm going to run the debugger. There you go. Everything passed. Alright, so on to the last one. So the last one, I'm going to still use a string, so this first part is exactly the same. Instead of using an array, I'm going to be using an empty string. And then in that empty string, I'm going to write 0 2 to the 16th times. So it's going to be just a bunch of zeros stuck together. I'm going to loop through the string again, and for each character, get the code point number for each character, and then I'm going to look up on this string the value at that position for that code point. And if I already accessed that value and set it to 1, then I'm going to return false, because that means that I've already hit that same letter. If I haven't, I'm going to, I want to basically set that to a 1. And because in Python strings are immutable, I can't just do this in place. So I need to slice this string to be everything up until the point where I want to add a 1 in. I want to concatenate the 1, and then I want to put everything after back. And then continue looping through this. If I hit something that I'd already set to 1, I'm going to return false. If I get through the whole string without hitting anything, I'm going to return true. So I'll run that real quick. There you go. Alright, so this is my solution to question number 1 in cracking for strings and arrays in cracking the coding interview.